Hello, it's Lex. How are you? This is the new getting started tips and tricks video for the new product TradeHawk. Now, quick note, TradeHawk is changing names. We are going to be referring to TradeHawk as Tradier Pro, the desktop version. So I want you guys to know that right off the bat. Now, if you say TradeHawk, no one's getting in trouble. We're just going to sort of rebrand our Tradier products and call them all Tradier, but the TradeHawk version will be Tradier Pro. First things first, go to tradier.com to download the product. Once here, go into individuals. Right now it still says TradeHawk, but when you left click on TradeHawk, it's going to take you to the TradeHawk page, okay? And once you're in here, you can download for a PC Windows version or either one of the Mac versions, the Intel or the M1. So the machine will take you through the process. Once you click on these, remember Tradier Pro or TradeHawk is a downloadable product so that you need to have it on your computer. Once you have the product downloaded, it's going to put that Tradier arrow on your computer and it's going to say Tradier on it. To get started, you double click it. When you double click it and go through the process, if you do not have a Tradier brokerage account, you can create a paper trading account. Okay, and it's going to ask you some questions along the way. You need an email and a password to do that. If you have a Tradier brokerage account, you can connect Tradier Pro or TradeHawk to your Tradier brokerage account. Okay, and you can follow that flow when you do it. Once you ultimately get into the system, okay, it's going to look like this. Now, in this video, we're not going to go through every container. These are called containers, the ones I'm clicking on, okay? The trading container, in my opinion, is the most important one. This is where you manage your inventory. This is where you put positions on. This is where you monitor it using your watch list, etc. Now, there's other containers we'll talk about in other videos, but this is just to get you started, okay? So once in this container, you're going to be given an options grid, a portfolio page, an orders page. There is a new integrated ticket down below. The integrated ticket cannot be moved. It cannot be removed from the software. It can only be embedded here. The reason we did that is it exists in every single container now. If you want to minimize it, click on the header, left click on the header. You notice it goes away. It sort of collapses down. It gives you more room on the screen so that you can view more things. If you want to come back, left click it again, and it'll scroll back up. Cannot be moved. Another question we've had, we don't have an event log. Where did it go? Well, it's called trading over in the left corner, and your event log now is part of the integrated ticket. You can still widen the event log if you need to and tighten it up by grabbing the three dots and doing that. So don't worry about that as well. One little note. If you put in 4 legs, okay, into the ticket down below, some people have said, "Hey, I can't see the last leg, and I have no ability to resize this." That's a fix we are gonna take care of. In the interim, go into your settings page, which is the gear icon, and change your font size to large from extra large for now. We will fix it so that you can move this and get this set, or it'll be auto adjusted. Just a quick little note there. Okay, let's get busy in this thing. The grid down below, super important. You can unlock the layout, which allows you to move things around and resize things. And you can lock it. I highly encourage you to lock it when you're not rearranging the furniture here. You have 3 different layouts. You have a trading layout, a simple layout, and a user. Here are the differences. Trading, that is out of the box. Every single panel and module that we have will be there again if you hit that. Simple, I'm just going to hit simple, watch what happens. Kind of reconfigures the screen, sort of like TradeHawk 1.0 with the smaller options chain or grid on the left. You've got the portfolio and orders together. So it's out of the box, one of our solutions. Okay, and the last one is user. All user is how it was last saved. Now there's a difference. What that means is that if you move things around or you close the system out at the end of the day with something else up here besides what you think you have, okay, so if you like to close it with options grid, then make sure you're there. And you close it by hitting the X in the top right corner on a Windows machine or the X in the top left corner on a Mac machine. So whenever you close this, that's how it's last saved, and that's what the user layout will be. Now, if you have a favorite layout and you want to always save it that way, go into custom, hit save new. Okay, you're going to get this window that pops up. Type in the name of your layout, you call it whatever you want, and hit OK. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I've already done it. So what happens there is, no matter what you do, if you save it kind of weird before you close at night or after you close at night, you can come back in here, go to your save custom layout and click on this, and now you can load this layout from here. So that works just fine, and there's all kinds of ways to load, and you can re-edit and all that sort of thing from your saved layout. Okay, awesome. Make sure when you're done moving things around, you lock the layout. These lines get thinner. So if I unlock it, notice what happens. Thicker lines, you get the little X in each of these modules. To remove a module, take it, click on the X. It's going to say, when you do that, are you sure you really want to close this window? Yes or no. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to remove my watch list. And then it will disappear. I'm going to lock this so I can't make any mistakes. Notice they get thin, these lines, and the X goes away on each of the modules. Some of the other things in this grid icon, you can load from a file. If one of your buddies sent you a file of your layout, you can do that, or you can save this to a file. If you save it to a file, you're going to get the typical Windows, file thing. Name it something, put it somewhere on your computer, save it. Okay. You can append it in an email to send to a friend or a colleague if you'd like. They can upload it from the same space in this grid by hitting load from file. Call that up. You go pick it, load it, and up it will come. And then you could go about the business of saving it as a new layout if you'd like. The next important icon, the settings icon, is vital. It allows you to customize your view. Okay, I'm not going to go through everything here, but just make sure that some of the items, the trading and the command center, are the two most important. Here you can set option profits and losses, equity profits and losses, risk-free interest rates, that sort of thing. You can set your equity default size, your option default size, and your spread size. You can also choose confirmations, whether you want them or not. You can do those on the fly in each of the tickets as well. So the trading one's kind of important. The command center, you can select ocean blue, which is what you see behind you, light color, which is a white, gray background. So if you like that, you can choose that. And black and white is actually just what it says. It's black and white font. It's a white background. It's for colorblind folks. So if you have trouble seeing reds and greens, the black and white version may be for you. Please note that anytime you change these, it requires a restart. It will not change on the fly. Okay, so you have to restart it. If you want sound on your orders or events, that's when you get filled or send things out. You can check that box. Your latest versions here. Font size. Okay, this is turned off, the modules. You can remove modules up above, or I guess they're better called containers, but you can remove those. Not yet. We haven't enabled that yet. You have two language choices, English and Spanish. There's some videos. If you want to remove the videos from popping up, you can do that. And if you ever want to get them back, the getting started video, which this is right there as needed. And then each of these, you can go through and change some of the columns and that sort of thing. So it's a big settings page. There's a lot here. Typically, you don't have to save anything. When you change it and exit, it'll save itself. There's only a few exceptions to that, and it'll show you where the save button is. You must exit this, so I'll click it, the exit sign here, and it goes away, disappears. Okay, terrific. Let's get busy. Let's go through each one of these. If you want to move something, okay, back to my grid, let's unlock it. Let's pretend, and I think out of the box, the watch list is over here. So let me show you how to move this real quick. So you can pick things up. You have to be in unlock mode. When you want to move something, you left click on it, hold it down, start dragging the mouse to where you want to release it. It'll take the shape. You can kind of get in between things and get a little fancy in between things if you want. But if you want it in the containers that are there, just leave it there. It'll show the name and let it go. Okay, so now it's there. You can also take this watch list and move it in the middle so that the tower's on the right. It's up to you. So I like my watch list over here. That's what I did. Notice I still have fat lines and the X going back to the the grid, and I'm locking it. Now it's set. When I leave at night, it'll save itself, or I can come to my custom layout and resave it or update it here if I wanted to. All columns are configurable in the settings. You can make them fatter or thinner if you'd like by just doing that. Okay. You can sort columns by clicking on them. So if I want to go to sort T to A, or Z to A, I should say, you can do it that way, or A to Z. You can do it that way. In this watch list, I have these columns. You can set any columns you want in the settings page. I highly recommend keeping these action buttons. They have a lot of items in them. Do not be afraid of lightning bolts. They are your friends. Click them. They have all kinds of things underneath them. They are choices menus. In the watch list, you can create a new watch list. You can edit the one you're looking at. You can delete the watch list, or you can import or export it from a file. Okay, so make sure you do that. These are export icons. Most of the templates have that. Click those to save or to send data out to an Excel spreadsheet, for instance. To have a module appear, just click it. Okay, we're not going to go through how to do every one of these in this video because it would be too long. And you can see I'm just clicking on things randomly and they're popping up. Okay, so let's just show how to put in an options trade. Let's make this simple. Go into your option grid. We call it a grid. People call it a montage, a chain. We get it. We call it an option grid or an O grid. Expirations are across the top. You can move to the end by clicking that button, move back to the beginning here. You can go fast here, or you have the ability to go right down the middle and go to one that's out there a little bit. Just click it. It'll take you there. When you're in an expiration, it'll highlight itself in this TradeHawk or Tradier Pro orange. Okay. Some of the other symbols, if you see this little orange bar, let's click that month. That's an indication to you that you have a position in that month. You can see in my position column, I have a position. If you had a working order that is not filled, it'll show a green bar in addition to an orange bar. So a green bar is a working order that is not filled. Once it's filled, it'll turn orange, okay? And you can see your positions in the columns here. Again, these columns move by grabbing them. So if you want your positions over here, just move it over here. When you save at night, it'll save it into that format. I'm just moving that here so my bid and ask are together. And everything to me seems uniform. So you can do that as well. Lightning bolt in the option grid, super important, all kinds of things here. Each one of these modules will have its own video, but just know that these have all kinds of choices in here. Okay, so you can do all kinds of things. Don't be afraid. Get into paper trading, test it out, hit some buttons. You can't break anything. So check out these lightning bolts in here. So that's how you set your things up. One important note I'll make in this video, which will also be in the option grid video, is if you're looking at expirations, okay, and that's the fourth one down from the top, you can filter all expirations, regular, weekly, quarterly. The important one is the single expiration display. What does that mean when it's checked? When it's checked, every time you click on a new expiration, it's going to replace the old one, and you are only going to view one expiration, okay? If you uncheck it, which I just did, now, when you click a second expiration, it's going to add that expiration to your option chain. Where is it? Well, in this case, my grid orientation is top down as opposed to left to right. In the top down, if I scroll, it's going to go to the second expiration. Now, all the expirations are labeled along the side. Tradier Pro or TradeHawk has this big orange at the money line, so you know you're right in the center. If you scroll up a little bit, you'll have a header. Calls on the left, puts on the right, and what the month is. So I'm going back up to the top, okay, up here. This is the first month. It's April 05. Second one's June 21. That's top down. Notice there's no black spaces in between when you're looking in top down mode. Okay, now let's move it to the left to right. This is great for time spreaders. When you do this, you get 2 months next to each other. Now you could get 3 if you want, if you have enough room on the screen. But notice again, you scroll up on any one of these, you're going to get to the top and you're going to see calls and puts. You're going to see what it is, or it's listed along the header along the left side. Okay, so in these 2 months, and I like going right to the at the money, seeing those things. So what we like to do is we like to show the strikes in comparison to one another. So they go horizontally or vertically, you know, from left to right, I should say, and they line up. That's great for lining up time spreads, calendar spreads, getting to see your diagonals. Again, you can make these a little bigger if you need to, so you can see the strikes better. But it lines things up. These black lines are here on purpose. That's an indication to you that there is no strike in that month between these. There might be a strike somewhere else. Notice there's a 163 and 0.33 strike here in June, but there isn't one here. So that's why we have the blank space. If you're in the top-down version, just know that you will not get those spaces. You have to scroll down. I personally don't like to trade with multiple expirations. I will put that single one on, and then when I'm in, when I click another one, watch what happens here. I left click there, that one goes away and it's replaced by the other one. I hope that makes sense. Let's take a look at building an options trade. Go to the options chain or grid, find the expiration and option in question. All you need to do is get in the ticket by clicking on either the bid or the ask. When you do that, it will put in either a buy leg or a sell leg. Out of the box, the system is set to click on the offer for a buy leg and a bid for a sell leg. You can reverse that in the settings if you'd like. When you do a single option, click on a single option. Once that single option is in there, it will show whether it's a buy or sell. Greens are buy legs, reds are sell legs. It says buy to open. We don't have a buy or sell button for options. It's just the send button for both single options and spreads. Okay, so this is a single option because it has one leg. Adjust the size in the quantity box for a single option trade. If you want to remove this, you can click the clear all legs button, or you can click any individual leg to remove it as well. If you want to do a spread, click on multiple legs. You have the ability to click on up to 4 legs at a time. That's what the exchanges will take right now. You can see I have a long leg here on the 165 line. I have a short leg on the 175. One interesting feature, if you don't like what you've chosen, you can move it by left clicking in the spread leg column on the option in question and moving it, dragging it and moving it and letting it go, releasing, and then you'll have a new spread. Or if you like the separation of the strikes and you want to change just the whole spread, you can click on either leg on the strike column and move it to the new spot, release it, and you have a new spread with the integrity of the strikes intact. Everything will update dynamically. When you have spreads, you'll have a debit bid, mid, ask. You can click on these numbers to change them. We always default on spreads to the midpoint of the market. When you build a spread, it will not follow the price, but you can click it to change it as it moves. Again, if you're doing a debit spread, we will detect that and call it a debit. If you're doing a credit spread, we will detect that and call it a credit. So you don't have to think about those items either. Once your spread is built, you can preview it if you'd like from the preview button here to take a peek at what this looks like with all the pertinent details, or you can simply send it to the marketplace. When you do send this, and I'll put this out here at a price that will not get filled, you can always type in the box, send it. Notice in the event log, it's going to go out there and show you that you have sent an order to the marketplace. For spreads, if you want to, well, actually for spreads or anything, if you want to change or look at dynamics, you can use the calculator button to change items of the spread, look at different prices and give you different theoretical values. You can do that for a single option as well. One note on spreads, you have a multiplier box and a ratio box for spreads. Okay, and that's automatically detected once you add the second leg. It then becomes a spread. So to change the size of a spread, use the multiplier box. Watch what happens when I make this a 25 number. So when I make the multiplier box 25, the ratio of the legs to one another doesn't change, but the total number of spreads you're sending out does. So you only change your size of the spread in one spot in the multiplier box. If you have a single option, let me remove a leg. Okay, notice this gets grayed out, the multiplier box, because then for the single option, you would change the size in the quantity box. And the headings for a single option go from quantity, in this case, okay, to ratio when I add the second leg. Okay, so that's there as well. One other feature, you'll notice when you send out an order on the option chain itself, on the bids and ask, you'll have a green on the buy leg, a red on the sell leg on the appropriate markets. That's an indication to you that you have an order working on those two strikes. If the numbers are the same, there's a little number 1 on each of these, those are connected. So that's the first spread you have out in the marketplace. If you did a second spread, it'd have the number 2. If you did a third, it'd have the number 3, and so on. So what's cool about that is you can come over here with your mouse, either leg, and right click on it. Gives you the opportunity to go down to the spread itself, replace it, cancel it, or you can send it back to the ticket. It's especially useful if you have multiple orders out and you want to take a look at one back in the ticket. So if I wanted to replace this, click replace. It's going to give you a little template. Adjust the price accordingly. You can use the arrows up and down. You can use the calculator to go up and down by bigger amounts. Okay, and once you get to the price that you're happy with, you hit the replace button. What that's going to do is it's going to send a message to cancel, replace it to the new price. If you wanted to cancel from here, you could do that as well. Just hit the cancel button, watch what happens, send a cancel message, it's removed, and notice those two legs disappear from the option chain or grid. Lastly, in this getting started video, just to get that trade going, make sure to go to our help center to look at other videos. They'll be much shorter than this one, but they'll be very specific. So let's pretend we want to do a ratio. I'm going to remove these right now. Let's say we want to buy 2 calls and sell 1 call. Okay, I'm just going to pick random. So I'm going to do the 185. Okay, let's do the 180, 85. Okay, actually, I'm going to reverse that. Let's buy 185 and sell 180. Okay, and notice it's 1-to-1. I clicked a single time in each one. If I wanted to make this 2-by-1, I could do one of 2 things. I could click a second time on the bid, in this case, the way I have it set up. So it now becomes 2-by-1. Notice the ratio is 2-by-1. Okay, or the other way is you can build it 1-to-1 and come down into the ticket and just use the up arrows or down arrows to make your ratio. So for instance, if you wanted 3-by-2, very simple to do. Okay, and notice base common denominator for ratios, set your size here. If I want to do 20 spreads, type in 20. Should be 60-by-40, which is multiplying 20 times the base ratio to get your full size spread there. When you like your pricing, you send it out to the marketplace. I hope that helps. Please go to our help center on the Tradier.com website in the TradeHawk section, which will be called Tradier Pro one of these days. And then there's a help section in there with a whole resource center of videos. Don't forget to send me an email, lex@tradier.com, if you have some suggestions. Also, use the little headset down in the bottom left corner. That'll take you to a type form, and you can fill out the type form if you have suggested ideas, problems that you have that you don't understand. That comes to the whole Tradier TradeHawk team, and we'll get back to you in an email. You can always set up a demo, and you can do that through the TradeHawk calendar link, which is on the website as well.